Hi, everybody, and welcome to TFT Tarot for today. Divine Dabblings with Oberon and Banshee. This is me, Oberon, with Goth Tarot. It's a look into shadow issues, the Gothic or emo way of life's considerations. Boy, do we have a lot going on with that. We've begun maybe a more detailed look at shadow work that we can do. So last week and at the beginning of each month, going forward for as long as we're doing this, Banshee joins me and we start off with creating a focus for the month's work through the oracle known as the Cries of the Soul's Oracle. So last week we had Betrayal as our shadow work, and we will focus on that in a moment with an update. But first, an opening meditation. Affirmation opening meditation is coming from the Dark Light Oracle. It's Heartbreak Palace. Arrows in the heart. The statue behind me is wounded by piercing arrows and bleeds endlessly. His love is gone, his hope has died, and he feels that any kind of joy has deserted him. So here I come to remind him that red is also the color of his future love, and his penance will end. Are you in pain too? Why? What have you lost? What is breaking your heart? Do not let yourself become a suffering soul. Remember that joy and love are nearer than you think. Remember that skies will be after they've been gray. Follow through with your pain, but then take this arrow out of your heart and return healed to the world. Affirmation. I accept feeling this suffering to the deepest, but having done so, I stop long self-imposed penance and I come back to life and joy. And if a part of this deeper pain that we might be feeling is that sense of betrayal, as we're working through the month, we have to remember that sometimes we're hurting ourselves the most. We're dwelling on our pain the most. So take what you will from this affirmation. It may not have directly been about the shadow work that we're working on, but then again, maybe not. Now, the next cards that I draw in this reading will be about some sense of shadow work and may not connect directly to the main issue of the betrayal, but I think there is some resonance there. So let's get started. And I'm going to show the betrayal card again. Okay, so I'm going to read the section from the card last week. It was under the Dark Whispers part of the tape. You can review that if you want on YouTube. It's still there. It will be there in our playlist. But this was known as the supplement, What You Need to Know. I lock you away in a prison in which other people can only be perceived as bad. So there is no point in trusting them or revealing yourself. You take no risk of honest and authentic sharing, of being moved, impressed, or enchanted. You manipulate out of self-protection, which gives you a feeling of complete power and helps you pacify your narcissistic faults. It may hurt other people, but you tell yourself that they're looking to do the same to you, and you might as well strike first. So, in a nutshell, that's betrayal. And I think the actions of recent days shows this playing out as maybe a more collective kind of shadow that's going on in the world, or specifically in the United States. And there are strong sense of feelings about being betrayed on any side of it, no matter how you want to look at it. And people do overreact, and people do try to inflict first rather than try to understand. So we're going to update in general how we are doing with that concept of betrayal. And to do the update, I'm going to work with um, the Shadow Work Tarot by Ethereal. Ethereal. So I'm gonna, you know what? Here's where we are. It's the King of Cups. I'll put that there for the moment. And the King of Cups is telling us that maybe we are starting to understand what it was that we thought was about betrayal, and that we need to turn the other cheek. We need to find our kind and pleasant center and try to administer love in that way, even in our more uh, Goth-minded way, that we appreciate the shadows that we all have, and that we know that those shadows exist because of the light that also exists. As I move our Heartbreak Palace over here, I'll just move it there. It's a little bit in the dark there, but that is fine. That is fine. So we're now starting off, and we're going to look at some possible side issues. Maybe they relate. What is the dark detour? How do we try to find ways to divert from dealing with our shadow issues, whether it's this one or other ones? How do we try to rationalize or make excuses for why we can't work on that? I'm going to use the Midnight Boulevard for the Dark Detour. And I use different decks that have different thematic or tonal qualities, because I am looking for something that inspires me in that way as I've applied a card and its meaning. I hear the scratching of the wind outside there. So, for example, when I'm dealing with things that are a little bit more otherworldly, I may use the Ghost Tarot for that imagery there. But the Midnight Boulevard sort of presents a darker cast of sorts over lives, and maybe a different way of looking at things. And in general, it appeals to me, and I think it's been a pretty good card to use for Goth Tarot. All right, so here we go then. What is the Dark Detour? What things are we using or trying to use to divert ourselves from working with issues? Well, it's indecisiveness itself. It's the King of Swords reversed. And the first thing I thought was somebody who's saying, you don't want to get me involved because I'm just going to really haul off and just do what needs to be done. That sort of sense of just saying, if you don't do this, I'll do it. And I may not like how I do it. So I think sometimes we put on a bravado to deal with issues by maybe forcing somebody else to back down because they're trying to get us to understand our issues. What do you think of that? At any rate, that's my working theory for the dark detour. I'm now going to move to the dark twist. And the dark twist, I'm going to use the black tarot. And the dark twist represents the unknown factors. What are they? What unknown factors, whether they're people or situationals, energies, whatever you want to consider it, what are those unknown factors that maybe bring provocative and unexpected, unknown effects to the matter? So these may not be rationals, these just may be things to watch out for. I should say potentials, but rationales. So what are the dark twist, possibly, or the dark twist? It's the reverse Seven of Pentacles. You might actually find that there's a reason or an energy that will move you towards the completion of this task. The unknown factor is that maybe the rules change. What you thought you were just sort of waiting for it to take on a life of its own, well, it did, and maybe in a potentially big way, and you have but no choice to shepherd it along, to move along with it. That's the reversed Seven of Pentacles. So in terms of the shadow work, and this may be especially about the fact that, some of this is collective, but whether it's collective, group mind, everyone, in some way, or yourself, things happen that will force you to basically move to plan B if plan A was just kind of letting things take care of themselves. Okay, so now we're going to move to the final card, the dark spiral. What are the situations that you need to watch out for that maybe are draining you, that are potentially negatory, and maybe the interplay of other kinds of situations? You know what I'm talking about. Psychic vampires. So I'm going to use the Gothic tarot of the vampires. And we're not looking for real vampires, although I never disallow for some possibilities when it comes to the occult. But we are looking for the kind of personalities or patterns of behavior or situations that maybe are draining us or enslaving us in certain ways, repressing us. Could be a number of different, behaviors that occur because of this. So let's see what it is that is our dark spiral. Ooh, it's the magician, and the magician is upright. Well, that's kind of a wow. Are we doing a weird form of LARP playing here? It could be that we are giving our power over to a sense of magical will and power that we have somehow put outside of ourselves. And of course, it almost reminds me of what I talked about with the avatar from a week or two back on Goth Tarot. Avatars being a projection of a self, and how that plays into the shadow aspects that we are manifesting, denying, trying to integrate. So, could this be saying that we're pretending to be something that we're finding it hard to be? We're pretending to be that magician, that projection of an avatar of a magician who's all powerful. And we're not seeing that maybe sometimes we need to have some help. We need to ask others for help. We need to do our shadow work. We need to understand maybe that betrayal is a two-way street, and that maybe we might feel betrayed, but are we betraying others if we are not being truthful in some ways? So I think that's a little bit to think about. But I want to end, maybe, hopefully, on a better note. And I'm going to do the closing meditation and affirmation from the Earth and Bone Oracle by Syrian Shadow. And I know there's a few people I know elsewhere in the universe that like Syrian Shadow and also have this. And there's been two editions. The newer edition, which is not mine, is a little lighter in color so that the images are easier to see. I think that is a valid complaint, but I am about all things dark, so it was okay for me. But I appreciate everybody who is working with Syrian Shadow and his amazing oracle here. So let's find out then what is our affirmation and possible shadow work for the things I've presented this week. And there again is the Betrayal card, as well as the Heartbreak Palace from the opening. And that's a reminder to say that, things are not always easy. We're just going to have to believe in ourselves and keep moving on. Keep trying to pull out those arrows, as the meditation said. All right. Visionary. Confidence, self-assured, passionate, self-worth, miraculous. I'm liking that. Well, let's see what I can do here. Miraculous. Okay. That was number 9. I think Banshee would appreciate that. And we'll show everything again. Oh, it didn't say miraculous, it said vivacious. Well, either way, that's kind of interesting too. Va-va-voom, as they say. Hey, I'm feeling a little happier. All right, consider the past. Carefully acknowledge and identify what you've learned. Forgive yourself now. Accept yourself as you are. Your enthusiasm is limitless and is accompanied by a generous spirit and a desire to succeed. People who don't understand you may mistake your dedication and focus for vanity or even bossiness. But take comfort in knowing that you care profoundly and are unwaveringly devoted to those who give love. Don't get upset by prior mistakes. Don't point the fingers at others. When life gets tough, be there for yourself. Make yourself at ease, compliment yourself. Consider connecting with individuals who support you. Knowing you're not alone brings a sense of belonging and worth. You're working so hard to uncover your calling, that glimmer of inspiration that will give your life meaning and make you want to live. You're on the lookout for experiences that will make you feel alive. A piece of advice: don't try so hard. Stop looking for that one thing that will make your life better right away. Realize your spirit guides have already been working to improve your situation. Let go of the reins and just be. All of the solutions will be given once you start just enjoying the things you appreciate in life. Finding that missing piece or key to unlock fulfillment does not make a life abundant. When life is appreciated, it is at its best. So get started doing what you like. It's that simple. Concentrate on what you enjoy doing. And the affirmation: I am supported by the universe. I trust my inner guidance. So, in respect, I think we should keep in mind that some of those qualities, they do sort of figure into the sense of what the shadow work of the month is, but not totally. And I do think so. This is Oberon, and thank you for watching. Until the next time, I'll see you. Don't forget to watch the live show tomorrow night uh, from 7 to 9. Also, my emotional exchanges on Friday, and that's at 7 o'clock. Happy hour will be on at 10 o'clock on Saturday. And then Banshee's Material Matters is also on at 10 o'clock, but on Sunday. And then Sunday afternoon is our other live stream from 2 to 4. And then next week we'll begin working on the Goth shadow work again. Thanks. See you next time.